Please turn to Jeremiah chapter 13. This message is a little bit provocative. I'm being a little bit cheeky and perhaps inappropriate, but I don't think so. This message is called The Prophet's Soiled Undies. And so you'll see why it's that in just a moment. So we're reading from Jeremiah chapter 13, verse 1. This is what it says. Thus says the Lord to me, go and buy a linen loincloth and put it around your waist and do not dip it in water. Verse 2. So I bought a loincloth according to the word of the Lord and put it around my waist. And we'll pause there for the moment before the word of the Lord comes to him the second time. But here Jeremiah is told, take a loincloth and don't wash it. Don't wash it. Now what we're going to see here is that the loincloth was typical of Israel. Israel is typified in a loincloth. What's a loincloth? Well, in a moment you'll see that there are various types of loincloths, and I don't advise you to Google this because, oh, Lord, forgive me, I got visual images. Anyway, but a loincloth, for the Egyptians, the loincloth was a piece of cloth, and it would sort of go from here to here, and it was just wrapped around. That was it. That was the simple Egyptian loincloth. And here the prophet is told to get a loincloth and gird it about his waist. And so the picture is, in this instance, it appears the picture is he's not to wear it as a loincloth, but he's to wear a loincloth girded about his waist. It was a picture, because loincloths aren't meant to expose the genitals, and God says, wear it around your waist. It's as if God is saying something here. You have gone about in such rampant unfaithfulness. You have been sexually promiscuous, which is really the symptom. The root of that is you've been spiritually promiscuous. And so we have this picture of the loincloth around the waist. The prophet is told, wear this around the waist. Now, you could well imagine someone pointing out to Jeremiah, Jeremiah, do you know your undies are on the outside of your... What's with that, Jeremiah? You're wearing your loin... a mate is a true mate when he says your fly's down. It's like half-mast, But for someone to come up and say, Jeremiah, you realise you've got your undies on the outside of your robe, dude. What's with that? And he's going, it's the word of the Lord. You sure it's not pizza? Like, what's this? You're wearing a loincloth around your waist. We now come to the second part of this visual demonstration of the word of the Lord. And so it says this in verse 3, and the word of the Lord came to me a second time. Take the loincloth that you have bought, which is around your waist, and arise, go to the Euphrates and hide it there in a cleft of the rock. Now, I don't know if you've pondered just the geography of this verse, because here's Jeremiah in Jerusalem being asked to go to the Euphrates. Now, if you have a Bible that probably is a reasonable one that has Bible maps at the back, and you might do what I did. I actually looked at a map and thought, go to the Euphrates. Wait a minute. The Euphrates doesn't run through Israel. In fact, the Euphrates is nowhere near Israel. So I actually looked at a map in the back of my Bible, and I took down the scale. I could use my thumb was 200 miles, or was it 150 miles, 200 kilometres. And I went, wait a minute, that's 600 kilometres away. And God says to Jeremiah, take this loincloth that you've got around your waist, and I want you to go to the Euphrates River. There is a cleft in the rock there. Put it there, hide it in there, and then come back. So he does that. Now, the Euphrates is a river that floods, and it floods in a way that its silt is spilled over the riverbanks. And reading some of the research into this, that we'll read on and see that when Jeremiah had to come back for his loincloth, it did not look the same way as it originally looked. Here in this process of God calling his people to be like a loincloth, meant to be covering the whole part, but Jeremiah's got it just up around his waist, and it's an unwashed loincloth. God is saying to his people, you've come to me, and under this covenant, you've not been washed. Verse 5, so I went and hid it by the Euphrates as the Lord commanded me. Verse 6, and after many days the Lord said to me, arise, go to the Euphrates, take from there the loincloth that I commanded you to hide there. Then I went to the Euphrates and dug, and I took the loincloth to the place where I'd hidden it. And behold, the loincloth was spoiled. It was good for nothing. Then the word of the Lord came to me. Thus says the Lord, even so I will spoil the pride of Judah and the great pride of Jerusalem. Verse 10, this evil people who refuse to hear my words, who stubbornly follow their own heart, have gone after other gods to serve them and worship them, shall be like this loincloth, which is good for nothing. God longs for intimacy with his people. He longs for intimacy with his people. You know, even as Karen shared over communion, look, we've heard this before. And may you hear it 1 million, billion, trillion times between now and your departure from this life. May we forever be challenged to make God the most intimate part of our life. May we forever be challenged to draw close to him and allow him to have his way in our lives.